Hotfoot from the Millionaire Studio, where you won £125,000
yes,
for charity.
Indeed.
With Nigella Lawson. But for somebody with your reputation, that's not very good. I mean, you're supposed to know everything. What was it? What was the question that stumped you?
It was what L.S. Lowry had been before he became a painter, and we had to choose between a hospital porter, a debt collector, a drainage engineer, and a curate. And frankly, we didn't know. There's no getting around it. I've asked others are sort of on the way here, and others, and they've all suggested hospital porter, which sounds so likely. But you knew the answer.
I did, yeah, only because I knew the old man when I was working in Manchester or Granada. Yes, he was a debt collector. That's exactly right. Unlikely story, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we had thought of getting Brian Sewell, the art critic.
Oh, yes, Brian Sewell.
As a phone a friend, but in fact, he wouldn't have known. Not only do I not know, but now that you've told me, I shall do my very best to forget it. I think any painter born north of the line between the Wash and Bristol Channel is not Brian Sewell's cup of tea.
Maybe not. No. I mean, in all the research, it says you're described as being a voracious reader. I mean, what does that mean, in a sense, when you're young? What do you read?
Well, I had the great advantage of being essentially insomniac. I mean, I couldn't sleep for about 5 or 6 years, really, at all. I mean, the odd half hour. So I would read 3 or 4 books a night. Nice. And, yeah, when I got fed up with reading them, because actually what happened, the wrist, no, don't get me wrong here, but the wrist at night, leaning on, like, turning pages, I would get an absolute cramped wrist and come down in the morning as a teenager and say, your wrist hurts, I know, you get it. It was, sadly, in my case, from reading. And so when I wasn't, I was listening to the only radio station you could listen to at 4 in the morning then, which was the BBC World Service. Yes. Which is why I think I sound the way I do, because that's how... This is London. You know, there was this kind of sort of tweedy, mullard valve kind of sound to people. You could smell the dust and the wood and the Bakelite.
When you were this kind of child that you described, this very bookish child, this child who knew lots of things and who I would imagine could be regarded as being a pain in the backside by some of his friends.
Hugely so.
Yeah. I mean, were you bullied at school because of this?
People attempted occasionally, but you know, as we know, words are a great deal stronger than sinew and brawn and muscle-headedness. And I had a very good technique, actually, for if any bully lays hands on you, and this is a free piece of advice, you just say, no, 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 don't touch me, don't hurt me, it'll only give me an erection. And, oh, God. You've no idea the reaction of the average public schoolboy. Oh, bloody hell, Fry. Oh, Christ, you're such a bloody queer, actually. Oh, God. You know, oh, God. And,
I think that should go into a book, actually, about bullying. It's a wonderful idea. Yeah. Now, when did your interest in World War I start?
Well, I've always been quite interested, and then last year I did a programme of family history in which it was called Who Do You Think You Are? And I traced a lot of my relatives, one of which was a grandfather who fought in the First World War. And I never knew him. Like Chris, my dad died very young, so I'd never even been able to ask him about my grandfather. And I went to the battlefields and I found the story of a man who'd fought and survived in the trenches. And I just got terribly interested. And that period, I think, it still resonates. I know we're just beginning to slip away.
Why does it resonate?
Because I think it was... When you get to my age, you start thinking, well, A, my generation hasn't been called on to do very much, or indeed anything. And as a father, you start thinking, well, not only do you imagine it could have been you, but you think, this could have been my son. And once you get round to the stories of the losses, I mean, there's a terrible, almost the archetypal story we do is we go round monuments, and there's, in a church in Great Rissington, there's 5 brothers on a memorial. Now, the Americans, you know, Saving Private Ryan, 3 go, and the president sends in a warship, and, you know, the whole American army gets them out. In England, 5 brothers die, you get a little telegram from the War Office. Terribly sorry, madam, all your sons are dead. And would you believe it, they were called Souls.
Souls, that's right.
The Souls brothers, 5 dead souls.
And Mrs. Souls' 6th son also, he died of meningitis, didn't he? So
yeah, straight after the war.
She had...
So it's a catastrophic loss, and her story is almost emblematic of everything that was happening in Britain. This huge pall of grief. Everybody lost someone.
And how did... I mean, who were the survivors who remembered the Souls, and what happened to them?
Well, we found a relative of one of the daughter's children, and a lot of local people in the village knew the story. And the worst thing about it was she got compensation for these boys, you know, a shilling for each boys, and she had to leave the village. because the gossips all said she's got 5 bob, she's incredibly rich. So this poor woman had to leave. I mean, they're terrible stories.
It was a different time, wasn't it?
Completely different time. And we tried in this series, basically, to go around the war memorials and take names and then do reverse genealogy. So instead of you going to look up your relatives, they come and find you, accompanied by me, which is probably a shock.
And what about the other thing that happened too, which I know you investigate, and that's that business of whole towns going to war.
Yes.
Accrington, Hull, the Hearts football team, all
Yes.
going. This idea of people, mates.
Yeah,
pals
well, they were
going
called the
together.
PALS battalions,
right, yeah.
and they went from all sorts of towns. And when they came back, having been sent away, the reception was rather different. I mean, there's a very good story we tell of... This is Luton, and there's a chap called George Goodship, and he went away with his cousin, and his cousin was killed, and he's on the memorial. And they came back thinking, well, Luton will be grateful to us. And Luton decided to have a big peace celebration, big dinner, the mayor and the council threw, 1919. They didn't invite any ex-servicemen. Just the mayor and his mates having a huge slap-up dinner to celebrate the war.
And no soldiers?
No soldiers. No servicemen at all. So the servicemen, they went to Luton Town Hall, huge riot outside, and they burnt it to the ground.
Quite right.
Good lads. Fantastic moment. They looted a piano shop, dragged out a piano, and all started singing, "We'll keep the home fires burning."
What a wonderful story, isn't it? Gordon Brown, not a fan of the show, not been on it.
I expect he's a real fan. He just doesn't want to come on it.
But what's interesting about the two of you, of course, is the use of audience, isn't it? Because, like Dara used an audience, so do you. I mean, the audience is a crucial part, David,
Yes.
of yours.
Yes.
It really is.
Question Time is nothing but an audience and a panel.
Yes.
I mean, the chairing of it is just making that relationship
And the
work.
politicians are wary of it because they face the public.
It's one of the... You see, in the Victorian era, people would regularly go and speak to a big audience like this. They'd go and talk, they'd expect to be heckled and shouted at, and they'd argue the toss and all that. Now, it's all become so sanitised, so carefully thought out, that the number of politicians who'll do that is not that great. I admire the ones who do, and who take it on the chin. I mean, the Tories, when Major was in difficulties, who took it on the chin. Labour, when Blair's in difficulties, who'll just come and fight their corner. That's how politics should be done. Because, you know, if you can't convince the public, the voter, about what you're doing, if you have to sit protected by your spin doctors and by, you know, giving stories to the press and leaking this and leaking that, that's not doing politics properly.
Well, it's not doing democracy any good at all,
None,
of course.
no.
It's exactly wrong. Has it changed in all the years you've been reporting on politics, covering politics? I mean, has it got worse?
It's very difficult. I mean, my starting point is that politicians have the most terrible job in a democracy. To get elected and then to pursue policies to improve education, to improve the national health, all that is not easy. I think the mistake that we've seen, particularly in the last decade, is politicians raising hopes too high by, well, in Blair's case, by sort of pretending that this had been done and that had been done. And I remember the very first day he was elected, and I was doing the commentary for the election. And in the morning, on Friday, he came into number 10 Downing Street, where Mrs. Thatcher had been in '79. And when she arrived, there were no gates, because the IRA hadn't yet disturbed things quite to that extent.
I wasn't.
No, I know. I wasn't
in any way affiliated to the organisation, by any means you can.
Exactly, you would never have been their press officer or anything.
Not
like
in
that,
any
no.
way, no.
But she came in, and there was a genuine crowd there, and she made a speech and went into number 10. The gates have gone up. Blair goes in, and there's a crowd there, all waving the Union flag. And I discover that this is entirely a ticketed Labour Party crowd brought down from Millbank. So I say this, and a voice in my ear, editor or producer or something, says, "Steady on, David, steady on, this is a great moment." And I thought, great moment? This is not a great moment. This is a contrived moment. It may be, you know, people are very excited by the change, but it's that ability to pretend things aren't as they really are that I think is so dangerous. And to want to go on doing that seems to me to be doing us all a bad turn. But I don't know what Gordon Brown will be like. I mean, people, you know, it's a very exciting moment to have a new Prime Minister completely unknown to us, really.
And a young, vigorous leader of the Tory party,
Yes,
too.
who may be falling into the same trap as Blair if he's
You
not
think so?
careful.
Yeah.
Well, if he's not careful, you know, I mean, he's got a big job to do because he's got to persuade the electorate that the Tories are not as they once were, but are changed and all that. But, of course, the danger is that we're all a bit bored by the show, the display. But, you know, you imagine being a politician. You imagine trying to appeal to, you know, 35, 40 million voters and sitting all the time worrying about, have we got the message across? Are we doing it right? It's not that easy. And I mean, they say, you know, Brown, who was done no favours, frankly, by Tony Blair talking about his clunking great fist. I mean, the last thing Gordon Brown wants to be seen as coming into office is as a clunking great fist. He's going around the country talking to little children, and we hope not frightening them. I don't know. But you know, I do take my hat off to them because I respect the instinct to become a politician. I don't always respect the manoeuvrings, but I do understand the astonishing difficulty of just getting the political point across and understood.
All right. Well, David Dimbleby, thank you very much indeed.